Hip series. The hip series consists of 3 exercises done in succession. The first exercise is the sideline hip abduction. The second exercise is a clam, and the third and final exercise is a fire hydrant. You're going to do all 3 of these exercises together, which again comprise the hip series. So the first exercise I recommend most people do is the sideline hip abduction. Now all 3 of these exercises are really going to help protect your spine as well as establish better strength in your hips. So if you're a runner, for example, most runners definitely should be doing this exercise because it's going to help strengthen the hip musculature to prevent excessive lumbar spine motion. Okay, a lot of runners have excessive lumbar spine motion, and this is really going to help with that. So again, the first exercise, the sideline hip abduction, you're going to align all your joints, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder. You're going to point your heel up towards the ceiling, angling your toes down towards the ground. So point those toes down as best you can, just maybe a few degrees. And then you're going to lift your leg as high as you comfortably can within your range of motion. That's typically going to be anywhere between 30 and 45 degrees of hip abduction. All right, you're going to do a set number of repetitions, typically 10 to 15 reps, maybe even up to 20 reps for the sideline hip abduction. You'll do each side. A side angle is here. For the sideline hip abduction, I'll just do a couple. Nice, slow, and controlled. And then the second exercise is the clam. The clam is done, again, on your side. You're going to draw your knees up slightly. So bend your knees, pull your heels up towards your butt slightly, and you're going to open your hip, bringing your knee up. It's very important in all 3 of these exercises. You want to make sure your pelvis is really stable, so really engage your core. Don't let your pelvis move. If anything, the top of your pelvis should be slanted slightly forward. Let me show you from the side what that looks like. Pull your knees up slightly. Keep your hips, the top of your pelvis slightly forward. Don't let anything move here. You really want to isolate your hip rotators. Some of you may not be able to do more than a few reps because your hips are so weak. Don't worry about it. But try to work your way up to 20 reps, say for each of the 3 exercises. Now that's the clam. And the third and final exercise is the fire hydrant. On your hands and knees, hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. And really engage your core. Don't let your lower back move. You want to keep it nice and stable. So most of you won't be able to lift your leg very high. Don't worry about it. Maybe 20 degrees of abduction here in the hip joint. But if you have somebody standing behind you looking at your lower back, they can really assess to determine if there's any movement there. If there's movement, then limit your range of motion. You see here I'm moving my knee in alignment with my hip, and my foot's going along for the ride. This is what it looks like from behind. Keep your knee moving in alignment with your foot. Don't let your lower back move. Really engage those core muscles. So I don't want to see this action. That's not right. Too much motion in your lumbar spine. Nice and tight. That's how you perform the hip series.